Hi everyone, welcome to today's session. So today we'll be talking about the use of marble to create dynamic design, and we have with us a very special guest who will be connecting shortly. So allow us a minute, get your tea or coffee and join us for this very interesting session. Yes, and I have my guest with us. Hmm. Give us a moment. I'm not sure why I'm unable to connect. Hi, Khushbu.
Hi, Tanya. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me and see me clearly? I can't really see your face.
Yeah, just give me a second. I'll just
Yeah.
adjust this. Yeah. Is this better?
Yes, much better. Can you hear me?
I can, loud and clear. How are you doing?
All good, thank you. How are you?
Very well.
So thank you, Khushbu, firstly for agreeing to be a part of this series. Let's Talk Design. I'll quickly give an introduction to you and your firm for our audience. So we have with us Khushbu Khandelwal, who will be talking about the use of marble to create bold and dramatic design. And she runs Studio Design Inc., which is a studio that has evolved into a multidisciplinary design firm over the years, and it offers an amalgamation of design services. The firm offers interior design and architectural design services across the fields of institutional, hospitality, commercial, healthcare, and residential projects. So, Khushbu, thank you once again for being a part of this series and agreeing to share your insight on the use of stone and marble with our audience today.
Thank you, Tanya, for having me. I'm quite excited to be here. So let's
Great.
go ahead.
Great. So I'll just quickly start with the questions before we take on some
Sure.
questions from the audience. So anybody who has questions on stone, on the application of stone and how it integrates with design, do drop in your comments in the comment box below. So firstly, how do you ensure, Khushbu, that the interior design scheme that you suggest, it suits the flair and the disposition of what the client wants?
That's an interesting question. I think it, probably also comes from years of experience that we have now. One thing that we've learned over time is to understand the client and the requirements thoroughly. I think all through architecture school there has always been this debate of form over function or function over form. I think today when we look at design in the practical sense, it's very important to know what is the actual story of the client going to be. And you need to study the lifestyle, you need to study where they're coming from, how they actually maybe want to up their ante. Once you have a clear idea of that, once you've spent time with that, can you actually go about then putting pen to paper and then go about creating the design for their particular space, whether it be corporate or hospitality, residential, for any kind of area. It is very essential that one must know and understand the client, the site, the context, thoroughly before you actually plunge into generating the design.
Right. So once you get onto this journey of generating the design process, like you said, it is often one finds that striking a balance between colors and textures, especially when it comes to stone, is quite challenging, right? How do
Yeah.
you ensure that this process is not challenging for the design team as well as the client again?
So I think once you've understood the entire, disposition of the client and the story that you are meaning to tell, uh, when it comes to textures and, as in like scale, it's first important to know what is it that you're aiming to impact for. Are you, aiming to impact for a very visually striking space? Are you aiming to impact for a space which is going to age over time, which is going to, blend in with the environment? Once you know how that is the impact that you actually want to create, then you can go about using, whichever materials you want to. In this case, if you're using stone, whether it's going to be a stone which is going to age better over time, or whether it's going to be a stone which is going to blend in seamlessly with the entire, surrounding, or it's, going to be a stone which is going to, create a real sort of a dramatic, or, like appeal. So in that sense, you can achieve that once you have an idea in your own head. We end up doing a lot of sampling at our sites, whether it could be the same stone used in very many different, ways. Like as in sometimes you'll flute a stone, sometimes you'll, carve it, sometimes you'll etch it, sometimes it's polished, sometimes it's ripped or rough. Sometimes you also insert a third material. It could be a metal, it could be just a groove. So with a lot of sample and experimentation, it is then possible to achieve the textures and a proper balance in the use of stone.
Right. So, how do you know, introduce a sort of bold factor into the design then? I mean, like you said, you introduce different elements, right? How does
Right.
one, maybe you could share some examples of where you've done this, but how does one really try and, introduce a bold element to design? Because today, I mean, that is also one way of sort of enabling a distinct identity for your entire design process as well.
Right. So, like for example, I mean, like we've done this office, like a corporate office, many years back. It was like a ground zero project where we started from, doing the architecture, the interiors, the landscape, everything. So the entire building was a very minimal building, and we were very sure that one corner which offered really nice views, we wanted to kind of puncture it with glass. So the other side of the entire building, we decided to use it as a real solid stone, chunk of space. So it was
Right.
very dark, Indian, granite that we use, which was then, experimented with different textures and we layered it. So that itself became the impact of the space. So I think it's about what you were looking for. Now, in the same building, as you went inside, we wanted to kind of completely change the way the space looked from that dark box with the puncture at the corner. We actually walked into this reception lobby where we wanted to highlight the entire, double height atrium. So there we actually used the local stone from one of the client's quarries
Yeah.
to kind of emphasize that element that, this is what they are capable of doing. And then we etched logo into that. So that became the highlighting factor for us. And it kind of starts, defining the entire space as well.
Right. Okay, very interesting. So, can stone be also used in your experience to provide, let's say, three-dimensional and textured sort of effects in a
So the
space?
stone is so versatile in its use, and I think people have this misconception when they talk about stone that they are just used to seeing the thin marble which comes out of, quarry or of any, store, thinking that, this is what stone is. I think people need to go back to its actual roots, that this is the way stone is actually taken out, and it's large chunks of stone that come out, which could be then sliced, which could be then used as large elements by itself. So I think there is a slow and steady exposure. I think also, thanks to, people like you all who are thanks to people like A-class marble, are also now introducing the whole idea that stone can be used in very many different ways. So even if it's, as for an interior where an entire basin can be carved out of a monolithic piece of stone, or like an entire facade can be actually made of, like you have bricks. You can actually use really thick slabs of, stone, and then you don't need to do certain kind of layering. I think people need to remember that our old buildings were naturally made out of stone without any concrete or without any of the, new age materials, and go back to that to really know that the possibilities are immense, and the textures that can be done on that as well are just, fantastic. So I think it's also just about kind of making people more aware that there are so many possibilities, even in simple slabs of stone. You can go all out, from simple polishes to textures to indents to etching. There's just so much more that you can do. I think we just need to kind of make them a little more aware than anything else.
Right. So could you share examples of a space or a product or an element, I would actually say a design element, where you have used stone to create like some bold drama, or something really dynamic that stands out, like a statement piece?
So we have used stone a lot in terms of, cladding materials in the past, and we've used it a lot in terms of even like facade treatments and, things like that. At this point, one very interesting that we're doing, I mean, one of my favorite marbles at this point is, this, marble called Amazonite, and it's a beautiful, very, very natural, forest green. And we're actually using it to highlight an almost 2.5 story space. And
Right.
it's going to be like, a couple of very, very large monolithic slabs, which are going to be, joined in, book match pattern, which is very difficult to get. And that itself is just going to become the entire drama for the space. I'm really looking forward to that particular experiment that we're doing at this point.
Very interesting. And could you also share some examples of space? Because you spoke about residential space, right? Uh, in residential spaces, apart from, of course, the foyer or the main living area, and like you spoke about a step, where you connect the different levels, are there other spaces that you could highlight which could be good opportunities to create sort of statement design?
I think as far as the residential space goes, you can practically use stone everywhere. You can
Right.
use it like in bedrooms, you can use it as headboards. In bathrooms, you can do entire bathrooms in stone. You can do countertops, you can do window jams, door jams. I know people have a reservation about using stone in the kitchen, but we've done it in the past and we've done it very successfully. I mean, for all these years, granite, which was a stone, natural stone, has been used so successfully. So I think uh, it can be used in practically every corner of the house. I don't think, barring the ceiling, which I would not really suggest, but I think it can be used in every part of a space. And you just need to do it sensibly so that it doesn't get overdone, and there's a good balance of, scale that's achieved.
Right. What other sort of, could you name some stones that could be that are otherwise typically ignored and do not get as much attention, but could be great ways to augment accent pieces or create statement design?
So we've been using this Indian stone called chiku. It's very unknown. I've in fact used it at my own house, and we've used variations of that. It doesn't come in very large sizes like a lot of exotic, or a lot of other marbles do. But if you use it, and it has this beautiful greenish gray sort of a color, which goes very well with a lot of accent marbles. So I think,
Right.
if you can use stones like that, a lot of Indian stones actually look beautiful with a lot of the accent marbles. I think people just have a reservation about using it, thinking, how can you use an accent piece with something like this? But in fact, sometimes because these Indian stones are so beautifully muted, the
Right.
accent pieces can really stand out very well.
Okay, very nice. And could you tell us a little bit more about marble now? What are the things one should keep in mind when you're using marble particularly, and what sort of colors work well, especially when you want to create a statement piece or create drama.
So with marble, you should always remember that certain marbles do tend to stain, very easily. And,
Hmm.
like I always, suggest that if you have, little kids, you can't be constantly running around thinking that, okay, this area's got stained, this area's got stained. I'd rather use an Indian stone, for a space like that. But if you use a good quality marble from a good store, most often than not, it works quite well. Um, you have a lot of accent marbles also, which are now available. One of our other favorites right now is blue sodalite, and it's a beautiful shade of blue. I think if you use a piece like that, you literally don't need to use anything else in the space. There is also, like a lot of stones which are now coming out in your shades of gray, as a lot of marbles coming out in the shades of gray, shades of white, which have not been really seen before. So,
Hmm.
like, there's a beautiful white mist which you end up getting today, which they have, gorgeous patterns within it. So, I think one must visit a store or like a place where you can actually see all these marbles and then decide.
Okay, great. And so I think that pretty much comes, with that, I come to the end of the questions that I had. I am going to wait for the audience to put down if they have any questions. Uh, until somebody is sending me a question. Okay. So until then, could you, if you had to pick one stone that resonated with your personality, that was representative of who you are, what would that be?
I think I'd go with a white mist.
Okay.
I've heard a lot about with my wardrobe being black and white and a lot of other spaces that I like to design being like that. So I'd
Right,
probably just say that that is something that would go quite well with what I am, who I am.
right. So there is a question here on how marble can be optimized, right? When using stone, what are the factors that one can consider to ensure optimization in terms of quantity and to make sure there's limited wastage and things like that? What would your recommendations be?
So that's a good question, actually. When you're going to, the quarry to see the actual marble slabs, uh, you will never get a slab which is cut straight. They'll always, because that's the way it will come out, naturally of, the space. It's important that you see where you want to use it and
Right.
literally draw out on that particular slab maybe a rectangle of sorts and see how much wastage there would be on that. You'll be surprised to know that there is so much of wastage which ends up going into each slab and you're not aware of because you're actually paying for the entire slab of marble at that point.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so you may end up getting a similar marble slab, which will have, lesser wastage. So that is one way. The second way is that when you're laying actual slabs of marble at a site, you should always, try and see which is the best way that it can be laid, with the least wastage. So if you're maybe, taking it from a particular wall, to see at the end of the room when it, kind of finishes, where is it that you would end up cutting the least amount. So these are
Right.
simple ways, and it's literally like a jigsaw puzzle. Sometimes when you just kind of start, assembling it, and then you realize that there are pieces that you don't need at all.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay, so with that, we come to the end of the session. I think that was a really sort of last closing. It was very interesting last closing question. Uh, I the series is called hashtag Let's Talk Design. So Khushbu, if there was one thing that you had to tell our audience when it comes to stone, Let's Talk Design, what would that be?
Um, so, like they say, experience is probably the best, but the hardest teacher of all. I think you should not be scared, or you should not take, the standard prejudices which are attached with a stone. I think be fearless and experiment, because you'll really be amazed at, what marble can actually, or what stone can actually do for you in any space.
Thank you. That's super useful. Thank you for the tip. As you know, A-Class is also celebrating more than 50 years of, being in the industry. And we've actually, with this series, we've covered more than 50 architects and designers. So it's been 50 plus years of A-Class and 50 plus architects and designers who've been a part of this celebration, which is Let's Talk Design. So thank you very much on behalf of the entire A-Class team. And as a thank you gesture, they'll be planting a tree on your behalf and sending you a certificate for the same.
Thank you. That's actually a really, really nice gesture. And thank you for having me on board. And many congratulations to A-Class and to many years to come.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Good luck. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.